Hey, welcome back everybody. I got a little bit of a different video for you guys. I originally had plans to put out the silhouette thing, but that didn't not that that didn't work out, but that got shifted back because of the Tuesday reveals where we got the fusion of these two cards making the Dark States Keter first Dual Nation boss. We haven't had any Dual Nation bosses yet, and I kind of want to discuss a potential future for this mechanic because I think it's a really cool mechanic that they could keep doing. So to start off with, I want to talk about the reveals really quick, just the how good the cards were because I tried to record a video and YouTube just wasn't letting me do it through my phone, so we'll just do it here. I'll get you guys out of the way because we'll talk about you guys in a bit. So the Dual Nation card for Liael Animus, and also I believe it's Arut and Emul, I believe is how you pronounce the grade two. But basically, uh, the grade two supports every version of Liel, so you can also throw it in Liel Draconis. But the new grade 3 specifically works with these two. Um, and the big thing I'll say is it feels more until testing comes through. It feels right now that it's more of a odium buff, which is good. I love odium buffs, but I don't feel like it's super great with just a mortar yet. But maybe through more lists and testing, we'll get a better idea of whether a mortar can truly use the new Liel Animus. Uh, but it's basically a for Odium, it's kind of a fourth copy of Persona Ride. It lets you find a card to throw into Regress Gauge, which could be the new Dual Nation. It could be any of your Colossus that you don't have in there for some reason. It could be another copy of Distorted Bane. The top five check is just really good for it. And also, you have the ability to, if you've activated your Divine skill, Energy Blast 3 during the main phase, and your give your Vanguard the ability to restand something at the end of a battle that attacks, which for this version of the deck, if you build something with a Morta, it's kind of a bit easier because you could, if you're going second, you could just shotgun Divine Skill turn 3, and then next turn Liel Animus is going to give you the extra attack. Uh, Whereas for Odium, you kind of have to wait till turn 5, which on one hand kind of stinks, but on the other hand, it gives you something to do if you didn't kill your opponent on Divine Skill turn, which is actually a really nice buff because the deck doesn't really have something for if the plan fails, right? And then the grade 2 is just a custom card for every version of Liel. It gives you soul, it can put cards back to bomb a deck, it gets 10k power, it can draw you a card, and if it gets either put into regress gauge or gets bound, you get to look at top 5, add a grade 3 card to your hand, but for the rest of the turn you can't use the effect, so it's a hard once per turn. Uh, it's just a really insane and cool card. So now that I've kind of gotten that little bit out of the way, I want to talk about the sort of future of Dual Nations. So the original Dual Nations was the Craycross cards, which were just they were rear guards that were Dual Nation, while the boss was just one nation. So like for this one, this was with the Keter girl, but its main nation is technically Stokia. But and then after that we got the uh, well, I shouldn't say after that. It took a while later, but we got the Festival Collection where they started printing these, which were the Dual Nation like generics. So you would play this in Dragon Empire, you would play this in Stokia, and it'd have an effect that could technically benefit both decks. Except you really don't see many Dragon Empire decks play this, but that's totally fine, right? Uh, the important thing is this dual nation mechanic is a really interesting topic as to what they could do for the future. If you're not aware, we're assuming that Divines is over after set 14. I mean, they might do set 15 too because it's a non-anime set, right? Maybe another last send off. But we're assuming the next anime series that starts is going to be, a whole new cast, whole new like new mechanics to standard. It'll still be standard, so it won't be like a rotation or anything. But it brings up the question as to, does Dual Nation have a kind of world in there? And if it does, what is that world? And one of the big things that I kind of got was from Liael Animus at the very least, was that you could, especially for the Phantom units, you could do sort of buffs like, or you could do sort of buffs like that, where later down the line, if you're like, hey, I want to support the Phantom decks again, I'm gonna make a grade 3 that's kind of like Liael Animus, but it'll work for the regular version of a unit and the Phantom version of a unit. Something cool like that. I don't know if that's what they personally plan on doing, but I think that would be really cool. I mean, could you imagine a turn 4 thing? It'd be a Stokia Brantgate version of Zorga, or a Stokia lyrical version of Magnolia, or even a Keter Dark States version of Blangdemeyer. I know we have the Blangdemeyer Nexus, but it's an interesting like idea that I'd like to keep open about, and I think that's really cool. But for future use, like new cast, new cards, everything like that, a dual nation mechanic that would be really cool would be making support for the deck, but in two different nations, which sounds a little weird. But I feel like it would be like a really cool design, like where Liel Animus grabs from top five and either regress gauges it or binds it, right? So this deck cares about binding. Deck cares about the regress gauge. So I think it'd be really cool if it was something like, if you make like a Kagero Stokia like dual nation or whatever, right? And like the Stokia half is all about like bringing stuff back from the graveyard, and the Vanguard gets like a special skill if your deck is all like mostly Stokia, and then uh, the Dragon Empire one is maybe focused on like retiring your opponent's stuff or whatever. It could be like, you know whatever you could think of, but I just think the concept is really cool and really interesting. Uh, and yeah, that's kind of the big thing that I want to talk about. Also, I love, this deck got the custom grade 2 card that works with both the decks. I would like at the very least, like, if it was like the boss card was the Dual Nation, and uh they had like a special support card that was for both versions, and it worked with both decks really good. I think that's a cool mechanic they can start going down line, and they could probably expand on it more. I don't know how hard they want to expand on dual nations though, just because it's a little. The last time we had something where you mixed like two clans together was in the originals. I think we officially like got rid of it during Legion format because they didn't put the keyword Lord on anything anymore. So it made it very difficult to deck build because it was people were playing like Phantom Blaster, Abyss, and Thingsaver Dragon in one deck, and it was just a really strong concept. So they had to, you know, revert it so you couldn't have fun with those decks anymore. But I think now that a lot of time has passed, they might be able to. Maybe they've thought on it. Maybe they can make more of this dual nation concept work. At least I hope they can, because it feels like they've been slowly building up for it, just like randomly, like between the Craycross units, the dual nation like generic cards, and then obviously Liel Animus and the Grade Two Water Break. Sorry, but I think it's just a really cool concept that they could go a lot more into, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the direction the game should take, but I feel like it'd be very interesting for the next season. At least it's a speculation because the I'm assuming we're done with Divine, so maybe we get something really cool like that. I don't know. But leave your comments down in the comment section, letting me know. Are you looking forward to potentially more dual nations? Are you looking forward to the stuff for Liel Amorta and Odium? I know I'm really looking forward to the Odium stuff, and my wallet's going to be in pain, but I'm going to have a good time, right? So that's it for this one. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.